Today on Vegan Freak Radio, we review 2 new bits of vegan media, we rant about the Dalai Lama, we talk about how milk makes you demented, and we roll your voicemails and emails. Today on the 17th of May, 2007 on Vegan Freak Radio, number 71.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hey, Vegan Freaks, it's Jenna.
I'm Bob. How you doing?
We're here for another week of Vegan Freak Radio.
We are indeed. You know what's interesting to me?
What?
We're talking to thousands of people right now, and it doesn't feel like it.
Not at all.
I think that's how I'm able to do the show. If we were standing in front of a group of like 5,000 or 6,000 people, could I talk about things like my swampy taint?
Probably not.
Could I rant and rave about things? Probably not. Although I do teach to classes that are fairly big and rant and rave. But
True.
In any case.
But do you rant about your swampy taint in front of your
Oh,
classes?
absolutely not.
I didn't think
absolutely
so.
Not. Do you know how fast I would be in the dean's office?
My
Oh
God.
my God. He said taint.
I'm offended.
Yeah, I've offended people before, trust me. Usually, though, I end up offending people in class because I talk about, it's sociology. I teach a 100-level sociology class. We talk about religion as an institution, and I am not used to referring to God in any, like, reverent way. So I'm always saying, like, God or the mythical sky being you happen to believe in, and people get all, because I forget that not half, like 90% of America believes in God.
Right, so.
But it's okay. Most of them just laugh at me. I'm kind of quaint to them. Kind of quaintly odd.
Haha, look at the funny tattooed man.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we're here this week. We've got a couple of things to do, and we've got some interesting things to talk about. And let's get into it, Jenna.
All right. Our first set of articles basically fall under the genre of milk is bad for you. And these come from a couple different sources. We got 2 sent from Mari, who I believe is in Australia somewhere. She says, I'm sure I don't need to tell you which parts of this article made me go grr. And the article is entitled The Milk of Human Unkindness, which is actually a pretty good title because it
Not
is.
bad.
Milk is due to human unkindness.
Actually, we talked a little last week about watching Little Britain.
Yeah.
Well, there's this segment in season 2 of Little Britain where this guy who, he's like a full-grown man, and he's always going to his mom, to try to he goes, I fucked this up. Biddy. Yeah, that's it. Biddy. And she looks at him, not now. He goes, Biddy. And she goes, not now. And he goes, Biddy. And then he goes over and sucks on her tit. And everybody goes, ooh, it's disgusting. But on the other hand, I'm like, most of the people watching the show will readily essentially suck on the tit of a cow. Like, what's the difference? You're not going to drink human milk, you drink cow milk.
Right.
Sorry, I just thought I would.
But it was even funnier in this one scene because they're in a restaurant and he's doing this, and it's at the same time as the waitress brings over the coffee, and there wasn't enough milk for the coffee, so she sprays milk out of her tit, and it goes into puts it into the coffee creamer container, and the guy just gives it to everybody else, and they all of course look absolutely disgusted.
Yeah, aghast. Mm-hmm. And I'm aghast at it, but I don't drink any kind of milk.
Right.
Milk is for children.
We drink soy juice, by the way.
Yeah. That will make Dino happy. He's always ranting and raving about that.
Well, you're not allowed to call it soy milk, really. It's a soy beverage.
Oh, okay. Pardon me. Whatever.
No, at least you're not allowed to label it. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really fucked up the delivery on that thing about the biddy. Go ahead.
But, yeah. Okay. Well, this actually is about a link between milk and acne. And this one person says she got acne, and her doctor told her, well, it's because you eat so much cheese. And so she gave up cheese and it went away. Da, da, da. Okay, so it says here, milk has anecdotally linked to acne for almost a century, but so far few scientists have agreed on the real cause of acne, and even fewer believe that diet plays a significant role. Danby, who runs a private practice, blah, 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 believes milk does cause acne and that he knows what mechanism could be. Acne can affect anyone at any age, but it usually peaks between 16 and 18, when up to 90% 98% of the Western population of Western countries is affected. A link between diet and acne has been suggested because acne is less common in other countries but increases when a Western diet is adopted. As well as being socially excruciating, acne is costly. 2 billion pounds is spent each year treating it.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. $4.77 billion. I'm not sure if that's US or Australian. Anyway.
That's not US dollars.
No, Australian. I don't know. Anyway, they did this study, but the article is funny. It says, why should milk, such an essential bone-building nutrient,
Not vegan.
be bad for our skin? They call it a nutrient as if it's like one nutrient.
Like vitamin milk.
Yeah, right. It's such an essential
Why?
bone-building
Did you
nutrient.
get your vitamin milk today?
I know. And what's missing from this study, and the one I'm going to read in a second, is that milk has been shown, because of its high protein content, to actually leach calcium out of your bones. Anyway, he says, Willett believes it is because of the hormones in the milk, and Danby has taken this argument a step further. What most dermatologists usually agree on is that the male hormone testosterone, also found in women, changes to dihydrotestosterone, DHT, in the sebaceous glands, the oil-producing glands in the skin. Acne develops when the hormone causes too many of the cells that line the duct of the gland to be produced too quickly. Unable to separate from each other, they stick together and form a plug in the pore, a first visible sign of acne. So that's how it works, according to this article. And then they actually go into why the cows are given hormones. They say the milk most of us drink is produced by cows for their calves. To ensure maximum milk yields, cows are inseminated days after giving birth to their calves, which are taken away. A dairy cow will spend most of her life being milked and being pregnant at the same time. Wow, that actually mentions it. Mm-hmm. So milk is full of hormones, not only the hormones intended to help the calf grow, but also those produced by the placenta to aid the cow's pregnancy. They include DHT and other hormones that are precursors to DHT. In other words, the hormones teenagers naturally produce are plentiful in milk. Milk contains other growth-enhancing hormones, too, as Danby says. Milk is, after all, specifically designed to make things grow. Wow. And then he says, Danby's solution is to eliminate dairy products from the diet. After all, he says, the Perricone diet is practically dairy-free. Nicholas Perricone, an American dermatologist who has launched a range of skincare products, has developed a skin food diet based on eating large amounts of wild salmon. And I believe that's where Mari's Gur comes in.
Not vegan.
Not at all. But of course, then they have to go on to interview the British Dairy Council.
Not vegan.
Not at all. Who says the study is flawed? Duh. And that the link between acne and milk is unproven. And it's not necessary to give up milk. Gee, I wonder why they would think that.
Not vegan. That's all I have to say.
Right. So, and then she said Mari says, in the same newspaper, there's this article about a fresh approach, it's called. And then it says, a radical diet.
Radical
May hold the key to treating autistic children. Basically, they gave autistic children a gluten and dairy-free diet, and it improved their autism.
Cool.
And other kids with like ADHD and any other kind of behavioral problems, they gave it this stuff, and it got rid of their problems.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway. But this one doctor makes a good point. He says, we all know that when you go to the pub and have a beer, it affects behavior. Why do we think it's okay for children to eat blue icing and sprinkles and not get affected? It's like, duh.
When I was a kid, I used to eat, I used to sometimes have like Hawaiian punch or something with that red food dye in it that was made illegal in the United States in the late 1970s, but it was legal when I was a kid, up for a few years after I was born. And I used to eat this red dye and then blah, like projectile horrible vomiting everywhere. So you know,
Yeah.
that stuff's good for you.
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know, it what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Right.
Who knows how many mutated cells were in my body because of that red dye.
Yeah. Anyway. But of course, the mainstream establishment thinks that, you know, changing your diet is bunk. So why bother do that? That doesn't have any effect on you.
The chair's all creaky today.
I don't know. So I know this is a little boring, but I'm getting to my point. Okay, there's another article about how milk is bad for you. So far, we have 2 articles recently in the press about how milk is bad for you. This third one was posted by Kitty Veg on the forums, and it says, scientists point to link between dairy foods and dementia. Calcium and vitamin D in dairy products may be contributing to brain damage and dementia in older men and women, new research suggests. They found that in the U.S., individuals who consumed high amounts of fatty dairy products had larger number of brain lesions. Interesting.
Yeah.
And the comments on this article were just absolutely rich.
Like what?
It was, typical. This is so stupid. There's no link. Drink up. Blah blah blah. Whenever I read these kinds of articles,
Yeah.
it's funny to me because they always include the people from like the Dairy Council
Of course,
or the national physicians group that says, oh, this is absolutely ridiculous.
All with the goal of trying to be fair and equitable, right?
Right, of course. And yet there's all these articles that are coming out that's showing that milk is problematic. And we've known this for a long time. Anybody who's read any sort of the vegan literature knows that milk's been connected to all kinds of nasty things. And what also comes out of these articles, and surprisingly they actually do mention some dairy-free diets, but they call them radical.
Right.
And so it's like this, oh my God, why would you want to do this? This is like such a radical thing you could do.
They make them sound much harder than they are.
Exactly.
They're not that hard.
No.
though. I mean, it's like, it's such a simple thing to do for your health and people won't do it.
No, it's ridiculous. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that always comes to my mind is like a lot of these articles don't even mention giving up milk. Like this last one doesn't, of course, mention, it's like never presented as an option or a rational option. It's laughed off as, this extreme thing, something that's totally not necessary.
Right.
But what if people were given the option? What if we made it as this viable option that, look, you can go vegan and improve your life, and it's been great for you, and it's great for the environment, and it's great for the animals. What if people were given this information?
But Jenna,
Tampering in dioxide stuff.
that's what you're doing. You're tampering. No, what I find interesting about that is my doctor, when I told her what I did to reverse some of the problems I was having, and reverse them quite drastically and very fast, I told her all about the diet I pursued. And she said, you can do that. You're young. She said, I can't tell my older clients, not clients, she didn't call them or whatever. She said, I can't tell my older patients to do that. It's too hard for them. They're too entrenched in their habits. So she has, roundly rejected the notion that she can advocate this for her patients who are older than I am. And now, if I were 50, she would say, well, I can't advocate this for anyone that's older than you. She would have had some other excuse.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is like, why can't you? Why? I think if people heard this from a doctor, if a doctor were to sit down with their patients and say, this is what you need to do, X, Y, and Z, you should really think about this. If you don't do this, you could die. And like in the case of where, high cholesterol or diabetes, things like that, it would scare people. And I think they would do it. A lot of them would. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
And you see this in, like, if you go poke around the PCRM website and Neil Barnard's stuff, he presents this to people, this vegan diet. And what's nice about Barnard, he's not scared of the word vegan.
No, he's not.
And I've seen him, on YouTube or whatever, giving talks. And he presents this, vegan diet. And he's not this, you don't have to, like, automatically turn into some weird hippie if you eat this vegan diet. And he gets people to do it that you would never expect, like cops and, well, there's the stereotype.
Ranchers
that,
and
and people that were grateful for being given this information.
That's right.
And they change their diet. And what happens? They lose weight. They are much healthier. They go off their medications. And I think we just need to get it out there more as an option.
I completely agree with you.
People always assume that, no, it's too radical and people aren't going to do it. And that's why welfarism is really annoying, because that's one of the arguments that they use. Oh, well, people aren't going to go vegan because...
It's the exact argument they
Yep.
use. Yep.
Because, it's too radical and people just aren't going to do it. So let's present this little, nicer option.
Well, the argument is that if you ask for too much, you get nothing.
Right.
If you have all or nothing, you end up with nothing. And that's the argument that welfarism always makes. And I think that's ridiculous, because what do? You end up accepting the lesser of two evils,
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And I think we should let people make the decision. Give them the information and don't make it sound like it's some radical extreme thing.
Do you know what is radical? Open motherfucking heart surgery is radical.
Yup.
That shit's radical. Or having to live your life with a chronic condition because you can't, or you don't know that giving up something like milk could solve that chronic condition.
I know. Yeah. Autism. That's radical. Dementia. That's radical. It's like...
Speaking of dementia,
The internet.
or this one,
In a few moments, You can come up and pet the turkey if you want to.
I'm addicted to the sound effects. I really apologize. I know these things probably annoy some of you.
That's what real women need.
Anyway, I'll stop.
So yeah.
I agree with you.
So that's why I wanted to, since all these milk articles were just appearing, I just kind of wanted to read a few things out of them briefly, because they always bring up this question for me, like, why is it so radical? Why? I don't get it. But whatever.
I don't know. Because we live in a culture that values a single pill or a shot as a solution for every health problem. Mm-hmm. Probably. Mm-hmm. Your dick lip? Take a pill. Have diabetes? Take a pill. Mm-hmm. Have heart disease? Take a pill.
Right. It's because people can make money off of giving you pills.
That's true. And it's a lot harder to commodify a diet like this. You know, you can't really commodify veganism in the same way you can commodify Zovirax or whatever fucking pills people are taking these days for their heart, for their limpness, for their whatever they're taking it for. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of goofy today. I apologize.
It's fine.
Well, I'm not apologizing to you. You know me when I'm goofy. It beats yesterday. I was in a really bad mood yesterday.
True.
Yeah. I was trying to write, and I had one of those days where I couldn't write, and it was annoying me. Anyway, should we move on?
Let's move on.
Okay. I found this one on the forums, this article. My nose is, sorry. This is about the Dalai Lama. I forget who posted this. I meant to write it down, and I didn't. So whomever posted this, I thank you greatly and deeply from the bottom of my heart for giving me something to talk about on the show. This article it's from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. And it says, the Dalai Lama digs into veal and peasant. Get it? Peasant? Okay, pheasant. Sorry. It's kind of a joke because, he is a feudal lord and all. Or wasn't he?
I guess, yeah.
I'm trying to decide whether I should save my rant about the Dalai Lama before or after. Let's go after.
Okay.
So the article says, it's a question most chefs never get the privilege of pondering. What to serve the Dalai Lama? In Milwaukee, Chef Sandy D'Amato's case, the answer was veal. Veal? Wait, my contact almost fell out. Sorry. Okay. Despite expectations that a vegetarian feast would be in order, the team of chefs assembled to cook for His Holiness on his recent visit to Madison was given no such instructions, said Catherine McKiernan, executive chef at the Madison Club where the elaborate luncheon was held. The Dalai Lama is, it turns out, a meat lover. And so the 5-course menu served to about 60 people on May 3rd included the guest of honor, his entourage, what is he, a rapper? And assorted citizens. Is he going to take it out behind the gray school and get it pregnant? Middle school. Anyway, included a stuffed pheasant breast, D'Amato's slow-cooked veal roast with scalded morels and escarole, and an asparagus soup with chicken stock base. A cured fish appetizer, mixed green salad, eggplant, and chickpea entree, and 3 full-size chocolate desserts completed the menu. Created and coordinated by Jim Walsh, a Wisconsin native who attended UW-Madison, the luncheon cost $500 to $1,000 a head, and was a fundraiser for the Deer Park Buddhist Center and Monastery near Madison. Walsh is the founder and CEO of Hawaiian Vintage Chocolate, a premium chocolate whose trees were blessed by the Dalai Lama and whose chocolate was the first ever eaten by the spiritual leader. This shit, the liberals with the fucking Dalai Lama are worse than the Catholics with the fucking Pope, okay? My grandmother does not go this apeshit over the Pope, and she is the most Catholic woman on the planet today, okay? Hi, Bobby, I pray for you, and Yana, I pray and pray. She is so Catholic. I'm telling you, she's holy. And these people are more into the Dalai Lama than my grandmother is into the Virgen de Guadalupe, okay? Okay. Walsh told D'Amato he picked him to be on the chef team after eating at Sanford Restaurant in Milwaukee. He was looking for restaurants that had a Zen-like feel. Sorry, this is so ridiculous. Had a Zen-like feel where the service and food and ambiance all made sense together. Sanford measured up as a place where nothing seemed forced, and it seemed as though everything was meant to be there. D'Amato may not have put Zen and Sanford in the same sentence before, but he was duly flattered. The other chefs were Sean McLean from Chicago's Spring Restaurant, Green Zebra and Custom House, and John Godow and Philip Hurley, co-owners and chefs of Sardine and Marigold Kitchen restaurants in Madison. They weren't operating completely in the dark about their honored guest. They knew the Dalai Lama eats only breakfast and lunch, and that his vows prohibit him from eating anything after 1 p.m. He must get up very early in the morning indeed. Everything had to be seasonal and local and Wisconsin-themed, as it were, McKernan said, noting the presence on the menu of pea shoots, pheasant, and a lot of asparagus. So His Holiness's pea must have smelled quite funny after that.
I'm sure.
D'Amato's veal came from Strauss Veal in Franklin. For security reasons, the chefs didn't know exactly when the exiled leader would show up. They were told it could be 11:15 or 11:45 a.m., 12:15 or 12:30. So what kind of security reason is that? It's like, he's coming between 11:15 and 12:30. Big fucking deal. The chefs also have been briefed on Dalai Lama protocol. Never turn your back on him. Don't touch him. Don't speak to him unless he speaks to you. Okay, this is ridiculous. He is a human being, a man, okay? He is a man like any other. He shits and pisses and puts on, he doesn't wear pants. If he wore pants, he'd put them on the same way we all did. And all this reverence is ridiculous. Why? This bothers me. Like, these are the same, liberals love the Dalai Lama, right? The same people that are going to like critique any other religious force, right? They will love the Dalai Lama, bow at his feet, talk about what a great man he is. Yet it is clear to me that this man lives in utter and total hierarchy over the people that he supposedly shepherds, number one. And number two, he believes, or he must believe, his shit does not stink. To me, this is a real problem. It bothers me. Okay. And on top of it all, his holiness, right? He's always talking about, peace and happiness and all this other shit. And yes, I have read some of what he has written. Believe it or not, I actually have one of his books around here. I read it. Okay. He's supposedly in reverence of the universe and all this other crap, right? But he eats animals. What's the justification? It wasn't killed for him, explicitly. Come on. How is that compassionate?
Doesn't sound very compassionate to me.
And veal? Okay. Anyway, right around noon, D'Amato was heading downstairs to the kitchen, one level below the dining area, to check on his food. Halfway down, he met His Holiness heading up the stairs. So I did a little moonwalk backward all the way up and smiled, D'Amato said. The chefs had hoped it would be possible to get a photograph with him, but were not planning to press the issue. When the Dalai Lama saw them all standing behind the table of food, the Dalai Lama said, "Oh, the cooks, picture, D'Amato recalled. He grabbed my hand and other fellows, and the proof is printed in this newspaper. And how did his radiance like the food? His radiance. With all due respect, he chowed down, D'Amato said. In addition to the veal dish and a warm, bittersweet international chocolate tart with coffee ice cream, D'Amato brought bread for the meal from his Harlequin bakery. He ate 9 pieces of bread, the chef said. The Dalai Lama commented later that everything was really delicious, D'Amato said, asking how this dish and that were made. And he noted approvingly, it's good quantity. I think that's probably enough, really. I mean, I don't really want to go overboard with this critique of the Dalai Lama, but I don't know. I just think it's weird. I just think it's weird that can't be touched and to whom you can't turn your back. That's the shit you do for the Queen.
I know.
All right,
it reminds me of the movie.
It's like
Queen.
old school monarchs, that's the way old school monarchs operate. And it's like, maybe it's the anarchist in me that finds all that such an effrontery to human nature, but come on. It's like, yeah, all right, you're the Dalai Lama, but come on. Really? Like, we can't turn our back? What the
Yeah.
Is that vein in my head popping out now?
Yeah, I think it is.
But the other thing that annoys me too is that, and not that I think Tibet should be colonized by China. I don't think there should be a railroad heading up there. And I don't think that, their cultural institutions should be trampled upon by the communists, right? I don't believe that. But on the other hand, you can, like in Ithaca, New York, right? Everywhere you go, you see these free Tibet stickers while people are driving past crack houses. It's like free Tibet, because it's so much easier to worry about freeing some feudal kingdom somewhere else than to fight for the problems right in your own damn community. And that's why I think liberals in particular love abstract, faraway causes, because they're easier to support than the things that are right in your own damn backyard.
Yep.
I'm done.
Okay. And they support a man who, preaches compassion but doesn't practice it.
That too. That too. I will never understand the liberal fascination with this man. And, why can't we be skeptical of the whole religious aspect of it as well? And it's like, I'm not even going to. His Holiness? What makes this guy any more holy than any of us?
I don't know.
His Holiness. Ridiculous shit.
But yeah. So he's living the high life while everybody back in Tibet is, suffering.
Well, I mean, he probably wouldn't want it that way, but
no,
but I mean, really though, he I'm not even going to start because it's just going to start another rant, and I'm going to center myself. I'm going to like try to practice and live the compassion, you know, or whatever. So I'll let this, the New Age vegan loves this guy. So I don't want to
right.
offend
We
him.
don't want to offend the New Age sensitive vegan guy.
I'm done. I'm
Okay.
done.
So, are we going to go on to our reviews?
Let's do that.
All right. Last week we said we would review 2 things that we got sent to us recently. One of them is called Tofu Magazine, and the other one is a DVD called The Everyday Dish. And Tofu Magazine is a new magazine, and it comes out of Canada somewhere. And apparently tofu stands for totally and obviously fucked up, living and breathing vegan in a world that smells fishy.
There you go.
Kind of catchy title.
It is.
But it's a cool little, it's more like a zine, I would think.
It's
I would
kind
call
of
it.
like like a little, well, it's like bound though. Zines aren't usually bound like that.
True.
It's just kind of like a journal. It's like journal sized magazine. And it just has a couple kind of interesting little thought pieces in it and some recipes and, an interview with one of the guys from Propagandi and what else? Propagandi.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of reflections from the contributors about their vegan lifestyle.
Right.
There's some reviews of restaurants and things, vegan Vancouver, vegan, I forget if it's St. John or St. John's. There's a difference.
Get it
I know
right.
That.
Get it right.
Yes, I do know St. John. Okay.
There you go.
There's a little cartoon, and it comes with a little CD.
Yeah, so it's actually a cool little project.
Yeah, it's pretty like jam-packed with stuff, really. So it's a unique, I think it's very creative.
Absolutely. So, I don't know, all kinds of little cartoons, poetry, pictures, stuff like that. You can let the Let's Get Baked guys have a little section here where they how to build a Satan skull fondue fountain, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
actually,
it's complete with pictures.
Complete with pictures and illustrations as well. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I thought that was pretty funny. So there's some good stuff in here, and it's definitely worth checking out. You can find more about this magazine at www.twentertainment.ca/vegan.
Cool.
So I would suggest you check that out. It's from Tumbleweed Publishing, and the 2 people really who are behind it are Ryan and Claire. So Ryan Patty. I apologize, Ryan, and Claire Gallant.
Why are there a lot of vegans named Ryan and Claire?
And Gary.
And Gary.
And Derek. See, we're just naming all the names. But I know a bunch of vegan Erics. I know a bunch of vegan Ryans.
It's funny.
Yep.
And I know several vegan Claires.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
And Lindsay's. I know a lot of vegan Lindsays,
Yeah, that too. It's funny.
I don't know. We should ask the Dalai Lama, His Holiness. Maybe there's some kind of like karmic reason or something, or numerology type shit. Or, maybe I should consult the star charts. Sorry, I'm super extra cynical today. I don't know why. I'm sure I'm offending everybody. And, I don't usually try to offend people. So, anyway, moving on.
The other thing we got in the mail is a DVD called The Everyday Dish.
Yeah, we had this for a while, but we wanted to actually have a chance to check it out before we reviewed it.
Yeah, that usually helps.
Yeah, but you would be surprised how many things get reviewed without people actually
I'm
really
sure.
looking at them.
I'm sure.
They look at the cover and go, yeah, it's like a DVD, cool. But go ahead.
But anyway, this is a cooking DVD, and it's by 3 different chefs, Brianna Clark Grogan, Drina Burton, and Julie Hassan. We've actually had 2 of those on our show before. Those people is what I was going to say. Sorry. I speak English. Yes. And this video, it's really good on a number of levels. I think what it's very good for is beginning cooks.
Yeah.
Because you get to see how the things are made. Because I think if maybe you're not familiar with vegan cooking or not familiar with cooking at all, you're not quite sure what to do with a recipe, or you're not quite sure how to put things together. And I think this is really good because it shows you everything. So they explain all the steps as they're going through it. They explain the ingredients, like, okay, use firm tofu, not silken tofu. Use fresh lemon juice because it imparts a really good taste. So I think if you don't want to use so much oil here, you can lessen the oil. So I think it's kind of conversational between, the particular chef who's talking about.
You feel like you're there in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's also nice because it's kind of a laid back attitude. this is like the chefs are really talking to you, and
Yeah.
it's not like some pretentious cooking show, and they don't have or sitting there going bam, and they'll have all these stupid catchphrases like Rachel Ray and everything.
EVOO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they actually are talking to you like you're going to be cooking this, in your kitchen, and the kitchen looks normal. It's not some TV set. So I
It's a
think
nice kitchen, though.
a very nice kitchen. I would love to have a kitchen that nice.
Our kitchen's a dump.
I know. I know. I looked at the stove. I'm like, damn, I want that stove. It's very powerful. Anyway. So I think it's especially useful for, like I said, beginning cooks. Drina's awesome. She gives you a lot of hints on things you can substitute. And so they do a lot of different varied recipes. You want to read some of that? You have the DVD there.
Sure. Brianna's recipes include rich brown gravy, Italian meatballs, vegan chicken cutlets, vegan pork tenderloin, and lemon lime bars. Trina's recipes are chickpea sensation patties, hummus, tortilla pizza, lemon herb tofu, sun-dried tomato pesto, and chocolate mint milk teas. And Julie comes to us with deli noodle soup, dinner loaf, tacos and salsa, chocolate cake, triple chocolate pudding.
Oh, man.
All yummy indeed. What I liked about the DVD, being ADD and having very short attention span, which I do, as you probably hear on the show quite often, is that it was very well organized into different chapters, so it's very easy to jump to any particular part of the DVD. Right from the beginning, from the menu. So I like that, actually. So you didn't have to fast forward and if you want to see one thing, you go right to it. I like that.
Yeah. And you can view all the recipes right there in the DVD. And they say if you put it in your computer, you can print them out just right from there.
So it says it's approximately 120 minutes of intuitive instruction for healthy vegan cooking. And it is quite intuitive and it's good. So the only downside I can see to this, unless they have a PAL version, this is an NTSC DVD.
Ah.
It says on the back. So if you are outside of North America, you may want to check on whether or not they have a PAL version. I didn't think about that till just now, till I saw that. But they probably do. It makes sense.
I have no idea.
So, any case, I would check on that unless you have. I guess in a computer it makes no difference. But if you're going to watch it on your TV, it probably matters. So I would check that out. But otherwise, I think this is a tremendous, tremendously good resource, especially for beginning cooks.
Definitely. And
although it's really good for anybody.
Yeah. And we actually made Drina's lemon herb tofu before, and it's really quite tasty.
So there you go.
There you go. And you can check this out at www.everydaydish.tv.
Ooh, it's a TV domain.
What is TV domain? I've never heard that one before.
I think it's Tuvalu probably, but it's what you just use when you want to have it. .tv.
Okay.
Like a
Like
television.
television. Right.
Like the tube.
Right.
The idiot box.
Cool.
Yep. Like the slime from your video. Like Frank Zappa calls it.
Yeah.
Isn't that what he says?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't listened to him in a while. I don't know. I am the slime from video. Yes. Okay. We gotta sing
Oozing
it.
right down on your living room floor. I can't sing. It's pathetic and sad when I try to sing. But anyway, very, very highly recommended. So go check that out. And yeah, very nice. Very nice. Go check out both of the things we reviewed today. I think that they're both cool.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how this Tofu magazine evolves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, one more thing I wanted to say about the DVD. It looks like they actually are having fun while they do this.
That's true.
Like they're actually enjoying, and they giggle sometimes and when they're talking about the food. And it just makes them seem like real people.
There was but the one thing I noticed when I was watching the DVD, there's like a little cookie jar in the background with like, it's kind of like it looked like a kind of fatter version of Mrs. Butterworth. It just I don't know.
It's just random.
Yeah, it was, again, oh, look, I'm just, that's the way I am. So anyway, cool. What are we doing now?
Emails.
Email.
You've got mail.
Okay, let's see here. Cialis? No, don't need that. Bigger bus size? No. Free iPod. Oh, might do that. Oh, are you pleasing your woman? Well, I better ask her. Oh, well, what's this? Vegan
Am I pleasing
freak
my woman?
Email. Vegan freak email. Yes.
Not something I particularly want to go into on the show,
Geez,
But
what do
the
you-
answer is yes.
Okay, thank you. I was just wondering, you're trying to, you're trying to emasculate me.
No,
I'm just kidding around.
I'm just shy. That's all.
Yeah, I know. I didn't ask you to go into details.
Okay.
Okay. This is from Sean in Arizona. Sean says, "Hey, Bob and Jen, I just wanted to let you know that the woman who called in about mud wrestling Ingrid Newkirk has already been beaten to the punch. A few years back, PETA had a tofu wrestling exhibition near the campus of Arizona State University in Tempe, Arizona. The wrestling match was ostensibly held to raise awareness about vegetarianism, but it was mostly just an excuse for frat boys to gawk at two bikini-clad women flailing around in a pool of silken tofu. One of the wrestlers was a playboy, and interestingly enough, the other was a transgender woman who works for PETA. In the ensuing media storm, I think there was more juvenile discussion about her sexuality than serious talk about vegetarianism. Way to go, PETA." The only story that's still available online is a blurb from the ALF blog, and there's a link to that. But what a non-shocker this is, right?
Not really.
And PETA pursuing a
Media
campaign.
stunt.
Yeah, PETA pursuing a campaign that makes any kind of person who wants to champion the cause of equal consideration for animals look like a complete idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And people pay more attention to the idiotic stunt itself than to the message.
Exactly.
What does that do? That generates publicity for PETA.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets their name out there, but it does absolutely nothing at all in any discernible way, shape, or form for animals.
Of course. And it makes women look like objects.
Well, yeah,
Sexual objects, and that's it.
that's right.
But it's so funny that we mentioned, oh yeah, PETA would love this, and they've already done it.
There you go. Whatever you can think of. Here's the thing how it goes. Whatever you can think of, if it's offensive or annoying, PETA has probably already done it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you hear about their latest stunt in Britain?
Oh, God, no.
They dumped a whole truckload of horse shit in front of Gordon Ramsay's restaurant because he's been serving horse.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, why is horse so special?
Yeah,
They should be upset about eating anything
that's right.
meat related. But anyway.
Absolutely. But again, they're going to seize on these kinds of charismatic animals. It's like the World Wildlife Foundation. When there was a post on the forums about the WWF, I couldn't help but think of wrestling. It's like, ooh, wrestling. Yeah. Anyway, they're going to seize the animals that have some kind of charismatic appeal,
Of course.
Moving on.
All right. This one comes from Drash23 on the forums. She says, regarding Married to an Omni, because we had it was an email? Yes, it was an email last week asking our advice about, dating someone who's an Omni and wanting them to go vegan. And we could only give so much information because, we're two vegans
Is
in a
that the one?
relationship.
Is that the one from Carl?
Probably.
Didn't he give a shit on the forums for something?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
We didn't
look.
give him enough information.
Okay. I'll
Okay. Anyway, Drash gives us some information because she is in this situation. She said, "Hey guys, I'm just trying to come up with a response to question on number 70's podcast regarding marriage/dating an Omni. My husband isn't even vegetarian. In fact, he doesn't even really like vegetables. Obviously, I am vegan or I wouldn't be writing this. We are very happily married. I think there are a number of factors that play into this. 1, I think it is important to note that Dave and I don't have what most people think of when they think of a typical marriage. We have a lot in common, but we also have loads of separate interests. We often venture out with our friends, and we aren't a very couple. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I think it has a lot to do with why the vegan Omni thing is not an issue. 2, I have never been considered the food provider for my husband. He works funny shifts and often eats his dinner before I am even home from work. He gets up at 3:30 a.m. most days, so is hungry for dinner long before I am. Me being the quote-unquote cook has never been part of our relationship. He has never identified food with me. We also eat out a lot. 3, my husband and I, as most couples should, have a lot of respect for each other. He respects my decisions, doesn't poke fun at me, and defends me when his family acts like assholes. I respect many of the other things my husband does. He's a great father, works hard, is a hell of a lot of fun, and is passionate about what he believes in. Does this mean that I think he has the right to eat meat? No. I still find it morally bankrupt. Does that mean I discount my husband as a person? No. There's still many things about him that I admire. Number 4, there's also this not fair factor. I went vegan after we were married, so there's still a little feeling that it's not fair to expect him to adopt this lifestyle. This is not saying that there are things I became interested in after we were married that he also doesn't share. For example, I became involved in boxer rescue after we were married. He is also more involved now than he was in the beginning. 5, this was mentioned on the show, but I feel the need to bring it up again. If I made Dave go vegan, he would be for all the wrong reasons. He probably wouldn't stay vegan, and I actually dislike former vegans more than I dislike Omnis. He has to come into his own time. I don't know if he will ever see it, but I hope so. Dave does show a general interest in veganism. We were driving home on Mother's Day, and a bunch of new factory farms have sprung up along the highway. Most farms in Wisconsin are still small scale, at least around here where I live. He asked questions about chickens and the lives they live, about cows. We discussed veal crates. He didn't even realize that's what those quote-unquote kennels were, and how veal is a direct result of dairy. We talked about a lot of things. I don't push my views on him nor his on me. Bottom line is that we love each other. I don't mean a sappy sort of high school googly-eyed love. As stated, we have a mutual respect for each other. We still understand that being married doesn't mean that we have to agree on everything, thank God. We poke fun at each other sometimes. Do we get over it? Yep. And she actually discussed this on her blog, greenbayvegan.blogspot.com. And then she sent another thing and added later, I don't buy meat, nor do I prepare it in the house. I understand this is more a matter of principle since our money comes out of the same pot now, but I believe that it helps him to understand how serious I am about it.
What could we possibly have said that would have been better than that?
I know. So thank you, Drash, for sharing all of that with us.
That is
because we
excellent.
Could not have had that perspective, so we really appreciate it.
Absolutely not. And that's a great perspective to have.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I don't have anything to add.
Me either.
That's tremendous.
Definitely. So thank you for that. Since we did ask, if people have other things that they want to say, they should send it in.
Cool. Well, there you go. All right, next email is from Mickey Hunger. She says, Hola, Bobby Jenna. I wanted to send you guys a comment about the story of the art student dressing up roadkill since my PS2 has decided to not read discs anymore. All I fucking want to do was play some DDR and numb my brain after my stupid AP exams, but no, I've got some time to kill. So we are the second choice, PlayStation 2 dies, so we then, if your PlayStation dies, you come see us. By the way, if you have a Wii, Paper Mario is a great game. Anyway, the story is really kind of funny to me, probably because I attend an art magnet school, and it is the sort of thing I hear about all the time. I find the whole thing kind of stupid, though. The girl doesn't even sound like she was trying to say anything really profound. It just seems she has happened to be kind of deep by accident. Isn't that true of most art students? No offense, I'm kidding. Sorry. I know I'm offending people. There's so many artists out there. And I don't mean to. I'm just a cynical bastard. Really, I am. She says she isn't an animal rights activist at all, but she's doing this to make a statement. What kind of statement would that be exactly? We should pay more attention to animals? Wow, hard-hitting stuff. I probably sound like a douchebaggy, pretentious art critic, but whatever. I could think of a whole host of more interesting ways to interpret dressed up roadkill, but I kind of don't want to give her so much credit. As an artist, I think it is a really great idea, but to do it without a really strong message behind it is just disappointing and lame. Following your logic about the feathers and shells in art not being vegan, I don't suppose this is vegan either, since the fact that they were already dead doesn't matter. However, I think it could be vegan if she meant to make a strong statement about animal rights. I mean, rather than let these animals that are already dead be swept up and hidden from sight by the city, why not show people the impact of our day-to-day existence, the impact our day-to-day existence has on animals in the area? Sorry, the type is kind of small, and I'm old. I have a difficult time reading. Anyway, I have seen art and animations using taxidermied animals, bones, and even slabs of meat sometimes made to move and behave like humans, and I think the images burned into my brain probably contribute to my vegan conversion. Interestingly enough, it reminds me a bit of the Body Worlds exhibit that has been traveling the country. I don't know if you have seen or heard it, but it is similar to the way that it is absolutely morbid and creepy but fascinating at the same time. Dead bodies are a summary of the lives they once led, I think. Anyway, just my 2 cents. Oh, and Dr. Derbyshire, or whatever the hell his name is, can suck my non-existent penis. That is the only statement I can use to successfully express the massive amounts of rage that flooded my system upon hearing that bilge that he wrote. If I try to say anything more, I'll probably start speaking in tongues, and we don't want that.
I want my God and I want my family.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, we actually got 2 voicemails about the roadkill thing, too.
Okay.
Since we did ask for other people's opinion. Because, to me, I don't know if we sort of got this across. To me, it just doesn't seem quite right. Just not vegan.
No, not vegan.
And especially, like Mickey said, because it didn't have that strong message behind it, it made it even sort of more random.
I feel like it's a problematic use of, I don't know, like it'd be like dressing up a dead human.
That's actually what one of the voicemails says. So,
yeah. See, I didn't listen to them yet.
Right, okay.
Anna, Irina, or both? Anna first?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. This is Anna. I'm from Sacramento, California, and I just recently became vegan. I'm really, really proud, and I feel 100% better all around. but I love your guys' show, so thanks for doing it. But anyways, I wanted to bring up the article that you guys talked about last week about the art student who did the roadkill on the street, dressed him up in human clothing and whatnot. But anyways, when you guys were talking about art students, I kind of laughed because I'm one, and I just know, I know how art students are, and that they kind of do stuff like that just to get reactions out of people, or they just do it to get attention, like, I'm so complex. But anyways, I thought it was really interesting. I'm still trying to contemplate it with vegan, but I don't know. I thought it would get people's attention and kind of make them think. But anyways, I wanted to bring up another artist. His name is Banksy. He's a graffiti artist from England, and he's been in the news.
There's an article about him in the New Yorker last week.
A lot recently. I've been following his work for the past few years, but he's a really amazing stencil artist. He has work from, all over the world, and he's done really, he took some of Paris Hilton's CDs out of a record store and, replaced her head with a dog head and written, Why Am I Famous? Just all this, really great, I think it's creative stuff, kind of as a part of the, Ad Jammers movement. But anyways, he's been in the news because he's done a lot of exhibitions including live animals and with non-toxic paint, they're not abused, they're given food, water, whatever, but a lot of people have protested against it, and I was just wondering what you guys thought about having live animals in any type of artwork.
Non-vegan.
So, that's about it. I just wanted to hear you guys' opinion on that.
I've got a couple opinions on it.
Not vegan.
Not vegan. Oh my god, that is totally not vegan.
And, not vegan.
Not vegan. Not vegan.
Gee, Bob, what do you think about that?
Not vegan.
No, I think that animals can't consent in the same way that humans can when it comes to being part of an art exhibit or being used in entertainment or being put in a rodeo or used
a circus
or being forced to dress up in a suit for a television commercial. I mean, I think all these things are related, and I think that they're all exploitative, and I essentially feel that animals are not ours to use for any of those reasons.
Right. That's my opinion as well. They can't consent. They can't, agree to be a part of this, so they shouldn't.
That's what I think too. So that's generally how I feel about that whole issue is, that animals don't have the right to consent to it. And I can understand they aren't harmed, that they're fed and all that. But it's also, in a way, it's kind of degrading. I mean, imagine, in a sense, imagine if you were forced to do something for someone, and part of being forced to do something for someone meant that you were covered in, blue paint. Blue paint, right? I'm not trying to think of the Blue Man Group or anything, but, what did we see? Something on TV where it's like, oh, this guy was going to turn blue, and he's like, I look like those blue cunts that play the drums.
Yeah, I forget what we were watching.
It was funny. Anyway, but, apart from the Blue Man Group, they do it also by their own consent or whatever. But imagine if you were forced to do something for someone and you were covered in paint. It was just like, it's degrading.
Yeah, like when people make their kids do dumb shit like that. It's degrading.
Yep.
So
that's what I think too. So I don't know. Let's move on.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. This is Rena.
But before I go on, I just want to say, Anna, I don't mean to diss you or anything like that. I didn't want to sound like I was being mean. Did I sound
She
bad?
asked our opinion.
I know, but I didn't want to be mean.
Okay.
And I want to also congratulate her on going vegan.
Yes.
I've emailed you a few times. I'm listening to you from Paris. I'm a kind of a new listener, Paris, France. And I've been catching up on your archives and stuff, and I really love your podcast. It gets me through my workout and my chores in the house because
Excellent. Glad we can help.
I'm like a housewife, man. And I had a couple of comments. I'm a vegan, just FYI. I'm a vegan in Paris, France, and it is possible, and I would love to give anybody some restaurant names that are in my area that would like to know about some pretty good vegetarian places, especially I know one down in South Paris. But anyway, my comments, I had one comment on the roadkill artist. The way I feel about it is that I feel like a dead animal on the road. Well, what would it be like to be driving along and see a dead person that was hit by a car on the road? That they're dead, so that it would be awfully shocking. It would be more of a surprise to us than to see a dead animal. But what would we do? Would we, pull over and make it look pretty? Or would we pull over and try to do the right thing by this person or being, by looking for ID to call the police and, find out where this person belongs? But seeing as how you can't really call the relatives of a beautiful deer or a raccoon or something, if one were to stop for any reason, I would think it would be to get the animal out of the road or call animal control or somebody to get it out of the road so it's not continuing to be hit and run over out of respect for the animal and also a danger factor. And if you were really, really like someone who lives out somewhere where you're in a pickup, I would pull over if I was someone who had, a shovel in the back seat and the ability to do so, and get the animal off the road and bury it or something. I don't know. Dressing it up, that just seems so disrespectful and gross and wrong in many ways. But also I wanted to say that I was on the Stairmaster at my gym today, and not knowing the language very well yet, I thought one of the trainers came up and asked me what I was reading, and I was reading a magazine from PETA and activist information and stuff like that. And I thought he said, "Oh, what are you reading?" So I told him in my best French, and he started a conversation with me about how it would be difficult for him to be vegan and why milk doesn't hurt anything. Oh, I couldn't not eat cheese. We had this little conversation that lasted about 6 or 7 minutes, and then it was time for me to get off the machine. And then he got two girls to go on the two different machines, and then I walked away. And a little while later, it occurred to me that he'd probably really was asking me if I was almost done so that the two girls that wanted to work out together that he was training could get on the machine. But I just started on this whole thing about being vegan and why dairy still hurts cows and why I don't eat honey and everything, which he understood, and he showed polite interest. But anyway, I told him I would help him anytime he decided to be vegan, and that was pretty cool. But anyway, thank you so much for all of your work, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm going to send you some cashola here pretty soon, and thank you. Keep it up. I've turned my 14-year-old son on to it, and yes, I'm a hippie, but I'm not stinky. And talk to you soon, okay? Bye.
Thanks, Rita. I don't know if we're 14-year-old friendly necessarily, but
Hey, but he's living in Europe, so they're a lot less,
True. He's already.
They see tits on TV. So.
Yeah. Can we send you some literature? If you're over there reading PETA stuff, we need to send you some good books or something. But that's interesting that you're able to strike up a conversation, and at least the person wasn't outright dismissive,
yeah, really.
Right?
You asked some questions, and you got to have a conversation. That's always good.
I mean, I don't know. So interesting points, but I agree also very much with what you were saying. And actually on our forums, Floxy raised an interesting point where she says, it's funny that there was a segment on roadkill. And she said, I often call them road hit animals just to remind people that they were once living, breathing beings. Why funny? Because last night she goes on and talks about how she ran into someone who's not vegan anymore, but he eats roadkill. And you run into these kinds of people and they're absurd. In any case, she wanted to raise this point about road hit animals to say that she would like to encourage people to stop and check on them when it's safe to do so. She says often their injuries are not fatal and they lie by the side of the road and die from exposure or hit again and again until they succumb. If we saw a cat or a dog lying beside the road, we'd stop, and wildlife deserve the same kind of consideration. She says that she's found live squirrels before and birds as well. She says, and she goes on to talk about how you can really get some veterinary gloves, an animal carrier with an old sweatshirt inside an orange vest for safety. You get a flashlight, and you can actually go out and help animals that, including quote unquote wild animals that could still have a chance if they're hit. Or she used the example of possums and how the babies are sometimes so tiny they can actually still be living in a mother, in the pouch of the mother who's been hit. Mm-hmm. So it's a very interesting point that she raises, and I think, a lot of us don't tend to think like that, and I think it's important that we do.
Yeah, and she also recommends contacting any local rescue organizations that can help you.
not to really raise them yourself necessarily, but to help out.
Yeah.
And I think Rena raises a good point too. Like, you know, these animals that are road hit, you know, we look at them and think they. Sorry.
You okay? You just had like a brain fart or something?
I was thinking about too many things at once.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I mean, she raises a good point when she says that we should consider them, not that we should just leave them there.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. What I find funny up here is apparently if you hit a deer up here,
it's yours.
The cops, you know, come and they ask you if you want to keep it and eat it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, our friends, you know, her meat eaters were absolutely just sort of appalled by this when they accidentally hit a deer and the cops had come and they were appalled by the fact that, you know, someone would actually want to eat the deer. I'm like, well, you eat meat, whatever.
Yeah,
anyway.
what's the difference? I mean, anyway.
Yeah.
So let's move on to other voicemails. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Carrie, also known as Sympathy on the Forums, so I do not participate as much as I should. But I had a little vegan rant to do. I was talking to a vegan I know, the only one I know, like, actually, you know, in person, and she's pregnant, and she told me today that she ate a turkey sandwich because she had a craving. And
oh my God, that is totally not vegan.
Oh, it's so not vegan. And then I asked her how she was going to raise a child, like food-wise, and she's like, oh yeah, he'll eat meat until he can choose on his own, you know, if he wants a vegan or vegetarian diet.
No. No. I'm sorry. I believe that the job of a parent, personally, is to raise a child with the values that they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then, once child's old, if they can make their own fucking decisions. That's my thinking. I don't have any kids, so, you know, take it for what it's worth.
I'm just like, where did this woman come from? I've known her for a while now, and she's been a vegan longer than I have, and I just did not understand that. And then I tried to talk to a friend of mine who's an ex-vegan, a vegetarian, and she kind of gave me this whole charade of, well, you shouldn't raise children vegan anyway. And I just needed someone to throw that onto because I was annoyed. So thank you, and bye.
Your friend?
I'm going to have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
Yeah, and it doesn't help when everybody sees these, you know, vegan kills their child because they feed them only apple juice and soy milk.
Yeah. Stupid kills your kids.
Exactly.
That's what kills them.
Well, it's funny. Somebody today on the forums posted an article about, and they changed the title to "Omnivore Kills Baby" by, I think they like put it in the microwave or something horrendous. But of course, you know, those kinds of news articles never mention that this is a meat eater, you know, absolutely doing horrendous things to their child. It's just ridiculous.
Look, I mean, there are so many places to begin, but there is a statement from the American Dietetic Association that says that vegan diets, you know, if they're considered, are healthful for children and healthful for adults. That's all, period.
Yeah.
I don't understand what is it that what could meat give you during pregnancy, or what could, you know, apart from potentially deadly organisms, you know, that come on the meat because of the shit on it, what could meat give you that you can't get from from plant products? Actually,
plant products will give you way more of what your body needs, like vitamins and minerals.
Yep.
Anyway.
So I think your friends are on crack. You need some new friends. That's all I have to say. No offense, but your friends are on crack, and you should tell them they're on crack. If you want
ex-vegan types. Ugh.
Yeah, you can play this for them. Carrie's friends, you're on crack. You got to stop smoking it.
Hey, it's Carrie again. Although I did have my distressing pregnant friend, one good thing today that happened vegan-wise is that I had a nice dialogue with one of my classmates about my veganism.
Cool.
And I think she's rethinking her chocolate milk she was eating for lunch. Because I guess relating milk and my tatas really helps, especially with women. So I just wanted to pass that on. Okay, bye-bye.
Good point.
Yep, it does work.
And there's plenty of good chocolate soy milk.
I know.
That's the thing.
Ugh. Chocolate milk always makes me think of grade school because, you know, in grade school, we could only ever get milk, chocolate milk, and if you wanted this orange nasty drink, you had to pay extra.
We used to get the orange nasty drink, too.
And so I hated milk, plain. Like I used to drink it in my cereal when I was a kid,
Yeah.
but I couldn't stand it. So I would take an obligatory sip just because I had needed something to wash down all my lunch.
So your parents were too cheap to spring for the fucking orange?
No, but like orange stuff is better. It's like sugar water.
I'd rather drink sugar.
So it's like
At least sugar, no one died for sugar.
true.
There's no veal in sugar.
I know, but it's such a shame that you can't get anything except nasty beverages. But anyway,
No,
it
I
just brings back nasty. Ugh.
yeah. I don't know. I can do chocolate soy milk on occasion. That doesn't bother me.
I can't drink soy milk straight. I can do smoothies
Yeah,
with soy milk, and
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
do
really
not
ever
like a
drink soy milk
milky-
straight.
bleh, I don't know.
Yeah. My brother used to be really into milk.
Oh.
He used to drink it like with ice. But, it was disgusting. Even when I would drink milk, I thought it was disgusting. Okay.
But anyway, otherwise,
Go ahead.
yeah, just starting up a dialogue with people, excellent.
Yep.
Also, I don't know what to say.
Hey, vegan freaks, it's Connie. Friday, actually. I was babysitting for my mom's friend, and I haven't seen them in a while, so they didn't know I was vegan. It was funny because when I told them I was vegan, the mom was like, "Oh, well, do you eat this?" And I forgot what she said, but it was something with cheese in it. And I was like, "No, I don't eat that."
Hot
There's
Pockets.
Cheese in it. And she was like, "Oh, well, then will you eat mac and cheese?" And I was like, "No, I'm fine." So pretty much we ended up eating spaghetti, and the kids also found out I was vegan. The girl was more like, "Oh, you're vegan. What's that?" The boy, well, his response was more funny. He was like, "You don't eat meat? You're gonna die. And there's things in meat that you need, so you're gonna die without them." And he was like, maybe, I really don't remember. I'm bad with ages. I'd say 5 to 7. And pretty much we had this like mini argument because I didn't want to like yell at him or, kind of, I don't know. He was kind of felt bad to argue with him and make him feel wrong. I don't know, whatever. But it just,
You gotta
it was
brainwash
funny
him.
how he's like maybe 5 or 7, and he's already got this like all these stereotypes that he believes in like so strongly because no matter what I said, he was just like, "Well, you're still gonna die." And I'm just thankful that his parents aren't Christian or something. But
You're
that's
still
what came
gonna
to
die.
mind, and just wanted to let you know about that.
Thanks, Connie. Connie and I are from the same city.
Yes. Connie's a long-time listener.
She is indeed. She's been listening for a really long time. I think she goes to high school that I couldn't get into. Anyway,
That's funny, but it is amazing how early they get brainwashed with that stuff.
yeah, it is. And it's because there's direct sponsorship
Mhm.
of the curriculum by the dairy and meat industries. And it doesn't help that the food pyramid is basically written. And we had a voicemail last week
Yeah.
or 2 weeks ago that was saying about the FDA, well, not the FDA, in any case, about the food pyramid and all
Mhm.
that crap and who it's written by. It's written by the interests of dairy, meat, eggs.
Yep.
And we all know.
Vegans don't eat eggs.
No, we don't.
All right, let's move on to a voicemail from Amazing Dave. Okay, it begins with a little song.
Fair trade is free trade. Fair trade is free trade. Fair trade is free trade. And free trade's not fair. Hey guys, this is Dave. Amazing Dave from the forums and the IRC channel. I wanted to talk about reforming systems not really being possible, and I've been thinking about that quite a bit lately. I work at a factory that is in the process of becoming fair trade, and I always thought fair trade was a really good idea until recently. I knew about it, and I bought mostly fair trade thinking that I was helping these people in developing countries get paid a fair wage and everything. And that makes sense for them to export products like cocoa and sugar and vanilla, non-essential products. But there's also fair trade rice. And to be certified fair trade, if you're using multiple ingredients, we make chocolate. So say the chocolate has coffee in it and it has various other ingredients. All those ingredients need to be fair trade for it to be certified fair trade. Some of these ingredients could be grown domestically, like rice, which is a staple food, but we use it in some of our products. We use rice syrup. And we use domestically grown rice syrup. And, I think that's a lot better than to import it because, rice is a staple food. It's not a product they can export without affecting their lifestyle. If you're growing sugar and you export that and you make some money, you can use that to buy other staple foods. The rice that's coming from developing countries, I believe, should stay in those developing countries.
Let me just add something here. He's saying that rice that comes from developing countries, Dave is making the point that this is like displacing the food that people in those countries would be consuming. So that's kind of his argument. But also, I would say that even producing cash crops, regardless of what they are for export, that process itself, which is kind of sitting at the root of a lot of what is promoted under the kind of rubric of free market development, that process itself also displaces people from land and creates the same kinds of dynamics where people are unable to gain access to land to grow their own food. So regardless of what the product is, I mean, even if it's cocoa and they aren't eating cocoa every day, cocoa or whatever, cocoa beans, or if it's rice or whatever it is, regardless of what it is, if it is produced for export, that can have a corrosive effect on food security in the developing world. So I just wanted to add that there, just to, contextualize the conversation.
If a country is starving and they're exporting vanilla and cocoa, well, that's one thing. If they're starving and they're exporting rice, then that's the same free trade exploitation as NAFTA. I mean, free trade and fair trade, in this instance, there's no difference. So the thing is, when we use this rice syrup, unless we find rice syrup that's fair trade imported from Sri Lanka or somewhere, then we can't call it fair trade. You can say that the ingredients are fair trade, but the product can't be certified as a fair trade product. And so that seems ridiculous to me. And the more I thought about it, I thought, okay, why would they do that? Why, if their objective is to help these developing countries, then they would see that it's better not to do this. There's no fees for a company to become certified fair trade. The fees for fair trade all fall on the companies importing products. So the company that actually brings the rice from wherever is paying Transfair USA the fee. And so I realized they're not making any money on domestic rice, and that's the only reason that they want you to use fair trade rice from Sri Lanka or wherever. So really, this is free trade, and this is a business, a privately owned business for profit, which is Transfair USA, who certifies products fair trade. They're getting rich off of free trade, and to me that's ridiculous. And it's the same, my company is certified organic. It's the same with organic certification. I still believe that fair trade in principle is a good thing, and that organic is in. But there's manipulations of a capitalist system to make those of us who oppose parts of it feel better. It's the same with Happy Meat. This is happy free trade, and it's ridiculous. I've been mad about it. So I just think we have to oppose the systems. We can't fight capitalism and fight oppression and fight the use of animals by becoming complacent and buying into these sort of systems that make you feel better, but they don't change anything.
So that was kind of Dave's, what I think what Dave is, his point, what he's arguing essentially is that, ultimately free trade might be a little better, but that it is still, in a way, involving some dynamics that could potentially be problematic for the people that are producing these products.
It still involves exploitation.
It still could involve exploitation. It still could be problematic. And he's also making the point that it's being promoted by a middleman, a middle group, let's say, a company in the middle, that is profiting from labeling certain products as free trade. And so I think when he's making this comparison to Happy Meat or something, I mean, there certainly is this kind of new ethical market emerging that's being used to market to consumers in very ethical ways. I think it's a tough question. I mean, certainly, when possible, you want to buy things that are produced in ways that are not exploitative. But on the other hand, I think that it's also worth thinking about the effects of some of these things on local communities and how they function. So just thought I would let Dave throw that out there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Never would have considered that
Me
link.
either.
Cool.
So it is all tied together. And, there's a really interesting book actually called Hungry for Trade. by John Madeley, Madeley, I think, that talks about, it doesn't really talk about fair trade necessarily, but it does talk about international agreements, and it talks about free trade and the ways in which the poor around the world are made to pay and suffer because of free trade policies. It's by Zed Books in London. Came out in 2000 something ish. So I would advise checking that. It's actually quite readable book too. It's not like full of brainy, egg-headed, nerdy stuff. It's quite readable. Let's move on to more. Go ahead.
No.
Okay.
No.
More. Jen.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. My name is Jen, and I am a happy, healthy vegan living in Boston. I was with my family this past weekend, and we were driving in the rural parts of Maine, and we went by some fields, and we smelt the manure. And my stepmom, knowing that I was vegan, she looked at me and she asked if what I thought about eating vegetables and fruits that is fertilized by animals, poop. And
You can say shit.
I kind of blocked up, and I didn't really know what to think about that. I'd kind of like to know your opinion on that. So help me out. Thanks. Bye.
Well, there is veganic production.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably find something on that on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
But it's rare.
It's very rare. Jenna?
Well, the problem is that
Over to you, Jenna.
A lot of organic, or I would say nearly 100% of organic crops are produced on fields that use manure.
Yeah.
So, and I would imagine some inorganic. I don't know. Do they?
Depends.
It depends.
Manure spreader, they would go out and spread in the field. It doesn't. Yeah. That's
So
not,
a lot of your vegetables probably were grown in soil that had manure as a fertilizer. So it's really, really hard to avoid.
Yep.
Unless you grow your own.
Yep.
Or you can find veganic. So unless you can do those two things, it's very difficult, I think, to find anything that doesn't. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. It's like, my God, what do we do about it?
Well, it's one of those. It is one of those questions where it's like, you have no choice, and you have to eat vegetables. It is doing the path of least harm, yet you are still somehow doing the path of least harm, still having some minor, role in animal product consumption, but it's minor.
Right.
It beats the alternative.
Right. And what we need to do is get more people to go vegan so there's less cow shit around to fertilize with. We find other forms of fertilizer.
Well, the argument that was bandied about at the co-op we used to belong to in Ithaca, New York, was that animal production is part of a stable, sustainable, organic system. That, you have animals, they produce shit, you use the shit to grow vegetables, and you feed the waste from the vegetables the animals. It creates a cycle.
Right.
A cycle of living in health in the earth and all that shit.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and play the next voicemail?
Hey, Bob and Jenna, this is Kevin Harloff from sunny Florida. This is my 5th attempt trying to do this without getting cut off. All right.
Don't we have an append function on the voicemail? Like, you can press a button?
We do.
I don't know what it is, though.
I don't.
Because I never call the voicemail. So, sorry you got cut off, Kevin. There's always Mike Chingo.
True.
I'm a year and 6 months into veganism, and I have just joined your vegan forums, and I'm also a subscriber to your podcast, and I love them. Thank you for all your great information. And all right, here's my question. I'm a big-time YouTuber, big-time part of the YouTube community, and my name is KP Harloff, also there. And if you want to check me out, but I have about 50 videos, which 2 of those I just started doing vegan videos. And one of them was just how I got into being a vegan in response to one girl who was questioning veganism or vegetarianism. And I said, first it was to lose some Christmas weight, or, then the great, I studied literature and philosophy and great minds that who all said, like Da Vinci to Pythagoras to Einstein to Ben Franklin, great minds that inspired me that were vegetarians and, and vegans. And then the second one was in response to a friend who said, what can you eat and what can't you eat? And that's what I showed in that video. And someone actually criticized me. And criticism's good, to the extent. And she said, don't say what you cannot eat, because that almost sounds like a disease. So my question to you is, what should I make YouTube videos about veganism? And should I go to stores or what? So before I get cut off, much love, guys, and I would appreciate your help. And go vegan. So talk to you guys later. Bye.
Awesome, Kevin. So check it out on YouTube. Go ahead.
That would be something I'd open up to our listeners. What would you like to see out there?
Oh, that's a good point. Here I am trying to think of ideas.
Yeah. I don't know. I think what you're doing so far is good, showing it in a positive light. Like, look, this is how I became vegan. This is my story, and this is what I do eat. And I think the criticism from some people, I think some people don't like the phrasing "you can't eat something." I think that might be where that person's coming from. You don't want to eat something. So it's fine to mention what you don't eat, but also make, and I think you probably did this, I haven't checked out your videos, but showing what you can eat or what you do eat or what you want to eat, the vast things that remain to eat, things that you now consider food and the things that you don't any longer consider food, I think is a really positive way. So.
I think a video detailing, for example, why you are a vegan and not a vegetarian is useful. Mm-hmm. And here I use the distinction between vegan and vegetarian. You know, a lot of people lump those together.
True.
I think that's a problematic approach.
Yes.
But why don't we open that up? So if you have suggestions for Kevin, let us know.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, though, I'm sure you're going to get like the stupid-headed comments.
Oh my God.
You know, eating meat rules, RULZ, exclamation, exclamation, 111, OMG, ROTFL.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Anytime you put anything on the internet, you're going to get ridiculous comments. So.
Really?
Yeah.
We haven't got any really stupid comments in a long time, actually.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
They really bother you. I think they're hilarious. You get upset and mad.
I know. I have a hard time dealing with that shit. I know I shouldn't let it bother me, but anyway.
So, get in touch with us for Kevin.
Yeah.
I have one thing to say before we close out the voicemails.
Okay.
Where?
I think we have one more.
Joe? Oh, J-O.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Joe from Springfield, Illinois. I am calling because I just ran across some great news on MSNBC.com. There is an article that says that the Milk Your Diet, Lose Weight, and Drink 24 ounces of milk a day campaign, it is finally over. It looks like a doctors group exposed the campaign for the shit that it is, and as an added bonus, they advocated for a vegan diet within the article. So I'm pretty excited that the campaign is over, but I'm kind of disappointed because I really feel like the damage has already been done, and there are still going to be thousands of obese people that continue to chug milk in expectation of weight loss and just not understand why they remain to be overweight and unhealthy. How unfortunate. Anyway, at least the commercials are over. Thanks for your podcast. Bye.
Well, thank you.
That's true. You make a good point that the damage has been done, and that's probably going to be one of those things that, you know, vegans hear as one of the stupid arguments. It's like, oh, but, you know, drinking milk has been proven to help you lose weight.
But here's the thing. Milk is a nutrient-dense food.
Yeah.
It is meant to help baby cows grow
and gain weight.
And these are like multi-thousand-pound animals, right? So the idea is that to help them grow and gain weight. And it's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, the thing about milk also is that, you know, the 2% milk or whatever, people assume that 2% is the amount, it's the amount of, people assume that that's like the number of calories that come from fat in the milk. But no, it's like significantly more. So in any case, are we done with the voicemails?
Yes.
Good point, Joe. Glad it's over too. But, oh yeah, before we go, I have a question for our Australian and British listeners, UK people. I want to know, where the fuck are yous?
Yeah, man, the Canadians are beating you out now.
We have not heard from outside of North America. It was an email. We haven't had any voicemails from outside of North America in a while.
No, we have not.
We don't make fun of people's accents on the show.
No, and now, no, we don't. Of course not.
No, we never have. And we won't.
And now you can use the MyChingo system, which is free. You don't even have to make an international call.
Exactly. I mean, I set that up so we could encourage international participation in the show for free, you know? So I'm wondering, where are you all? If you are a listener out there and we have not heard from you, you should be calling us. And we love to hear from you. Yeah. So we like to hear what you have to say. If you're nice to us, if you're calling to tell us that Bob's rant about the Dalai Lama went too far, Oh, you could call and tell us that. That's fine. Okay. I don't care. I'll play it and make fun of you.
I'm sure we'll get a few.
No, I won't make fun of anyone who says that. I could disagree with you, but I won't make fun of you. And with that, I believe, are we done?
We are.
Thank
done.
God, because I have to pee.
You mean you don't have a little bottle next to your chair you can pee in?
I don't have a piss jug right here. I don't have a gallon piss jug, no, because we don't drink milk.
True.
If I had a piss jug, it would have to be one of those little Tetra Paks, and that would definitely not hold enough.
And would be hard to pee into, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's a tiny little hole, right? With a piss jug, you could... Well, anyway. TMI, baby. Sorry, I'm feeling kind of goofy this week. I don't know why. I apologize.
Well, we'll be back next week as usual. You okay, Bob?
I just peed. No. I'm kidding. I'm fine. Anyway. I think I had an accident.
267-295-1944.
And you can always find out more about our show at veganfreakradio.com. People often ask, where's your website? I say it on the show every week.
Show at veganfreakradio.com is our email.
And that's all I have. I'm done.
Okay.
Have a good week, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Fair trade is free trade. Fair trade is free trade. Fair trade is free trade. And free trade's not fair. Hey guys.